Hey friends, Daniel here with the Leadpages tech team bringing you today's tech tip. As you're working on customizing a page, site, or pop-up you're creating, layout plays a huge role in where content lies. During this tech tip, let's dive into sections. Now, as you can see here, I do have a page pulled up already. And I'm going to go ahead and just click on Layout on the left-hand menu. This is going to be one way that I can access the settings for sections. Now, as we see here, these are going to be all the sections of our page. For each section, we can name them by using this little pencil icon. So I can adjust the name of the section and save. When I do that, I'm going to see that name appear here on the page. And I'm going to talk about these options that appear here in just a moment, but I want to show you really quick, as you're in the sections here, you do have the option to delete the section, duplicate the section. It'll put it right below. And I'm going to go ahead and delete that duplicate here so you can see it. It's going to actually highlight it before it deletes. And then I do have the ability to make a section visible or not. So I'm going to hide that from viewing on my page. But of course, I can always bring that back, which can be certainly helpful if you're working on a section, but you're not ready for it to appear on the live version of your page or site or pop-up just yet. Now, I do have a lot of similar options to this in the Actions menu here in my section on the page. So let's go ahead and click on the Actions menu. Now, right away, I'll see Edit Section Settings, which we'll talk about in just a moment, but I have the ability to add a section above or below this current one. I can duplicate this section, a feature we've already seen under that Layout menu. I can copy the section, and this would be if, for example, I wanted to copy this section to use maybe in a different asset created in my Leadpages account. I could copy this section, go into that asset, and then in the Actions menu of a section, go paste above or below and paste in that section. And then, of course, I do have that option to delete. Now, as we're talking about sections here, I want to just show you how you can quickly add a section, and then we'll dive into section settings. So there's a few ways that we can add a section, right? We saw on our Actions menu, we can add a section above or below. So just click on one of these options. I can also add a section here by just clicking Add a Section. It'll put it at the bottom of my page. And then I also have the ability under the Sections menu here to add a section onto my page by just dragging and dropping. Now, in this particular case, I'm going to scroll down to the bottom because I want to show you how you can move sections once I add it on. But let's take a look at the section types that we have available to add onto our page. So we have several pre-designed sections that you are welcome to add onto your page, along with blank sections. And the cool thing about the blank sections is it already has the layout set up for you, right? So if you know maybe you're going to do something in particular, like you want to have some pricing columns, this might be a great setup for you to have, right? It has 4 columns on it. In this case, though, I'm going to focus my attention onto a FAQs. And I'm going to add an FAQ section onto my page. So I'm going to see that there are several pre-designed sections here that I can drag and drop onto my page. But of course, I can start from scratch using the blank or use one of these other pre-designed sections as well. But I'll use this top one here for our example's sake. I'm going to go ahead and just click and hold on it and start dragging it onto my page. And as I do so, I'm going to see some blue shaded lines appear that are going to indicate where I can drop this section. I'm going to drop it right here at the bottom of my page. I want to make sure my mouse is over that blue shaded line that appears before letting go, so it does drop onto my page. Now I'm going to go ahead and head back to layout here. I know I've added that onto the bottom part of my page, but I want to move that section up. So maybe after the about, right? So I'm going to click and hold on these 6 dots and drag that section right under the about section. And what that's going to do is it's going to drop it up under the about section on my page. So I have my my features, so my hero, right? So hero, features and services, about, which is my about section here, and then I do have my FAQs that I just added on there. Now, of course, I can always move this section around or any section on my page using those 6 dots, and of course, delete, duplicate, or make that section not visible. Now, as we're talking about sections, let's go ahead and take a look at section settings. So I can access the section settings a few different ways. First, here under the layout menu, I can go ahead and click on section and section style, and I know I clicked on my about section. The second way is I can click on the name of my section on the page, or I can, from that actions menu, say edit section settings. All of these will take me to the same location, being this. Now in my section settings, I do have quite a few options. My first option here is to set a background for my section. So this background is going to layer on top of my page background set under styles here. And I can select a color or an image to use. And I can always change what's used by either clicking on the option. So for color, I can say color circle. And I can add a color or select from any of my brand colors or recent colors. And I can, of course, remove that color using this option here. For an image, I can change that image or remove it by using this option here. If I do select an image, I'm going to have this image color overlay option where I can overlay a color on top of my image. So I'm going to go ahead and just use this recent color, and it's going to make it a little bit darker and give it kind of a gray background right here where there was some white or clear space. With an image, I'll have the ability to adjust its sizing, whether it fills our container, fits the container, or is auto-based adjusting based off the content. Alignment, top aligning it, centering it, or aligning it to the bottom, and then repeating that image if I'd like. As we move along here, I do have the ability to adjust the padding of my section. So say, for example, if I adjust the top padding, it's going to push the content down. Or I could adjust like the left or the right to push content in. So say, for example, if I click in the little field here, I can input a number and adjust that in to create some space between that column that's in my section and that left border. Moving along, I do have the ability to change the minimum height of my section. So by default, sections are going to adjust based off of the content that's in them. And most often you're going to see that auto is selected, but you can adjust this. So maybe say, for example, if you're really focusing in on an image, you can adjust this to be more so that that section is filling that full space that it can be in. And of course, you can align that top or bottom or center it as well. Moving along, we do have the option to add an arrow border, and this is helpful to draw your visitors' attention to maybe something you want them to see. So say, for example, if I add an arrow border to the bottom, I know it's hard to see here because it is white, but there is a arrow border that has been added there under the section to help draw my visitors' attention to it. Now, if I adjusted my background color, of course, I'm going to see that stick out just a little bit more. See that there. And this can be really helpful, again, just to draw your visitors' attention down the page. You wouldn't necessarily want to use this on every section. Next option here is timing control. So what this does is delay this section from appearing for X amount of seconds when that page is viewed. So right now what's set is 60 seconds, so I wouldn't see this section load until 60 seconds has expired. And then last option here is our device-specific display setting that allows you to create different views for different devices. I know we had talked about that duplicate option. So that would be that option here, right? And what we could do is we could duplicate this section. We could use this device-specific display setting for the About section and say hide this on tablet and mobile. And on that duplicate, we could do the reverse, so doing like this. And then we would have a different section for mobile viewers and a different section for desktop viewers to see. And I'm going to go ahead and flip those back. I really appreciate you taking the time to hang out with me for this tech tip to learn about sections. And don't forget, if you have any questions, our knowledge base and support team are just a click away.